Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is the place where I mostly talk about games, movies, TV series and anime, usually reviewing them in order to determine whether they are worth the watch or play. As there are literally an overabundance of content present to watch or to play, I'm just trying to be a guide of sorts to help you filter out the content and find the ones which are actually worth your time investment. So, keeping up with the theme of the series, today we are gonna check out Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. This movie, without a doubt, has been highly anticipated and awaited, where the excitement began since the release of its first teaser showcasing the silhouette of Scar King, and the hype about the movie has only grown higher with the further release of trailers and clips, where YouTube especially has been flooded with the content and theories about the movie, hyping it up furthermore. So come join me and let's take a thorough look on what this new adventure of Kong and Godzilla have in store for us, and if this latest installment of the monsterverse series can actually live up to the crazy hyped up expectations. There are a lot of things to talk about in this movie, so let's begin with the plot. As here, the story is a direct continuation to Godzilla vs. Kong, where both the alphas have come to a mutual understanding with each other, as Kong lives peacefully in the Hollow Earth, whilst Godzilla maintains his domain on the surface world. In the starting bit of the movie, the entire new dynamics will be introduced, where humans, despite their reservations, are trying to coexist with Godzilla on surface world as he helps them defeat the titans who have gone berserk and are attacking humans. Whereas Kong is living a wild, single life in Hollow Earth, running rampant. Still, even the vast wilds of land below are not enough to help Kong with his growing loneliness, as he is constantly seeking out his own kind for a family, but with disappointing results. So, after establishing the dynamics of the characters, the plot kicks off when suddenly one of the human outposts in Hollow Earth stopped responding, and a strange yet powerful SOS signal began originating from the depths of Hollow Earth, which is causing an effect even on the surface world, as humans are also able to detect this signal, especially Gia, who is having a strange response to this call for help. And this SOS signal is also causing Godzilla to behave erratically and attack nuclear power plants in order to charge himself up. Whereas Kong is investigating the disturbance by himself, going deeper into the Hollow Earth, discovering an entirely new region which was previously hidden. Meanwhile, the humans have also formed a small landing party in order to investigate the source of the signal, where you will see Rebecca Hall and Kaylee Hottle reprising their roles as Dr. Andrews and Gia, alongside Brian Tyree Henry's Bernie. The human group will also have a wild card in the form of Dan Stevens Trapper, who is an old friend of Dr. Andrews who now joined the Monarch team as a Titan vet. Thus, with the baseline established, the movie will now follow three narrative plot points. First, where Godzilla is going around the world absorbing radiation sources to power himself up. Second is humans trying to investigate the source of the signal. And finally, Kong, who after venturing into the depths of Hollow Earth, discovers that he is not alone. There are more like him. In fact, there is an entire colony of great apes living there under the tyrannical rule of Scar King. So, most of you might already know from the trailers that Scar King is going to be the main villain of the movie, and he will be using an ancient titan shimo as a way to assert his dominance. I won't be going too much into the details about the plotline as it might spoil some fun for you, but in a general sense you get the idea of the story where our giant heroes will be facing this new threat together. I was specifically surprised at the fact that majority of the plot and subplots of the movie were directly showcased in the trailers, and whatever remained were theorized by the fans. This caused the movie to become a bit predictable as there wasn't much elements of surprise left to thrill you up. Now, as I mentioned before that the story will be following three different plot perspectives, and this was the point where I started noticing the disparity in those plot lines. As here, even though the movie is titled as Godzilla x Kong, But in all essence, it felt more like a Kong movie with Godzilla present as a support character. Don't get me wrong, Godzilla will be present throughout the movie and will certainly play a significant role in the latter part. But if I am being completely honest, his presence felt bare minimum and very unimpactful until the very final segment, as if his presence was there just because the plot required it. The human plot perspective, on the other hand, will be a bag of mixed bunch, where apart from the primary landing party, the human involvement this time was kept to a minimum, where the core plot will primarily be focused on Gia and Dr. Andrews, especially on their developing mother-daughter relationship, alongside Gia's connection to Hollow Earth and the history of her people, the Eevee tribe. This segment was really appreciated as the narrative is trying towards a more personal human element to expand upon the world of monsterverse, which felt toned down in the last installment. The movie will also have a fun comic relief in the form of Brian Tyree's Bernie, whose quirkiness has been toned down a bit here as compared to Godzilla vs. Kong because his character in that movie felt a bit annoying, whereas here they found a proper balance for his character who now actually feels like a fun addition to the franchise. On the other hand, our wildcard Trapper, played by Dan Stevens, will certainly receive mixed response, as his character portrayal gives out a wannabe Star-Lord vibe. They even added musical transitions from old-school rock music to emulate that Star-Lord Guardians of Galaxy effect, and at certain places it does work a bit, where the character will feel funny and energetic, especially his comical dynamics with Bernie. But still, the overall portrayal felt a bit extra and slightly cringy. There were also some elements in the human narrative around the finale part of the movie which felt slightly off because it became a little too magical for me. I know it's a monsterverse movie, but even though being a genre of modern fantasy and science fiction, the narrative tried to keep things and portrayals a bit grounded with logical reasonings. Whereas here in the movie, it felt like by the end of it, they had given up on grounded reasonings and went a little too hard on the fantasy magic element, which I personally wasn't a big fan of. And finally, the narrative of Kong's plot, which according to me is the strongest and the most significant of the three storylines that will actually provide the depth and substance for the majority of the movie. And thankfully, they got this part right, where Kong is center stage and rightfully justifies that priority. Here you will also see Kong adapting from his human interactions and showcasing that certain degree of intelligent behavior alongside smart actions. Here you will also see that Kong evolving into a more mature person, as is evident by his graying hair that he is entering his midlife. Kong's journey in this movie, searching for a family, is very humanly relatable, because without even utterance of a single word, they manage to capture the true emotions behind every scene, every interactions very effortlessly, especially the way they humanized Kong with his expressions and mannerisms, alongside his dynamic relationship with baby Kong, Zuko. It was simply a cherry on top.
Is that a mini Kong?
However, no matter how great and emotionally connecting Kong's journey was, it's still not enough to overshadow the shortcomings with the movie. And out of all, there are two drawbacks which has a major negative impact. First, the movie runtime, which was quite short, going around 1 hour 54 minutes including credits. And its pacing. At a lot of places, especially during the combat, the pacing felt quite rushed, where a lot of times it seemed that the action was cut short a little too soon, making them feel quite unsatisfactory. This brings me to the second major issue with the movie, and that is its vibe, which felt quite candid. Even though Scar King was a good villain, having his own characteristics, still, the movie was lacking that sense of real danger or seriousness, because Shimo, who was supposed to be this great dangerous threat, felt quite underutilized in the movie. The entire presentation was also affected by inconsistent CGI implementations, where at certain shots, the graphic felt quite poor. And not only that, the way they animated certain monsters, including Godzilla, felt very casual and a little comical. I'm not saying that Godzilla was engaging in comedy or anything. although there is a certain scene where you might find his behavior a bit funny. But the thing which I'm talking about is the way these monsters are running and jumping around doing parkour in a fast-paced action sequences. This takes away that weightage from these godlike titan creatures, making their behavior and actions feel quite casual. I understand it's a change in perspective due to the scaling of Hollow Earth, a world filled with monsters and giant creatures, but still, the movie wasn't giving me much of a monstrous vibe. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. It certainly is a movie which tries to expand upon the established lore of the Monsterverse in a very positive way, showcasing a huge potential for the franchise. Sadly, that same potential wasn't very well utilized here. The movie had a very good start with a strong plot narrative, but felt quite underwhelming in the execution of that same story, where it was plagued with rushed incidents and scenarios because of a short runtime, casual movements and mannerisms of Titans that make it lose impact. Even the combat sequences felt quite casual and uneventful. This, alongside a generic finale climax with underutilized Shimo and Godzilla, makes the entire movie watching experience a little underwhelming.
Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone.
This does not mean it is a horrible movie. In fact, if you are a fan of the Monsterverse franchise, I can actually recommend you to watch it, where it is genuinely a fun Kong movie that definitely expands Monsterverse lore in a good way. But again, as a fan with all the hype built up for the movie, I felt a little disappointed and underwhelmed. So ultimately, I will say this: Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is a decent entry in the Monsterverse saga. And although the actual movie could not live up to the hype it created, but it still is an awesome monster movie with crazy action. And if you are a fan of the genre or the Monsterverse franchise, then you can definitely go ahead and give this a watch, as it is a fun experience as long as you don't have any crazy expectations. So folks, that's it from my side today. Thank you for watching the video. Please let me know your thoughts on it. If you have already watched the movie, do let me know your experience on the comment section. And also let me know if there are any other movies, series or anime you'd like me to review and figure out if they're actually worth the watch. So don't forget to drop a like, comment your feedbacks and subscribe for more incoming videos. And I'll see you soon on the next one.